headlines get so out of control and sensationalist, it really drives me nuts. Like this one. Prince Harry's olive branch to royal family set to end feud. Oh, really? No. In what universe? Oh my goodness. I'm not sure that you could call a years-long, one-sided attack a feud. But anywho, Invictus is set to take place in Birmingham in 2027. And a lot of publications are framing this as a potential end to the rift, because Invictus is planning on extending an invitation to the royals to attend. Not so fast. Invictus always invites the heads of state and or the royals of the host country, if they have them. Because the event is focused on veterans, it makes sense to invite those types of figures to come and support people who served their country. And it was like initially going to be kind of a big deal event for the host country. You know, obviously not anywhere near as big as an event like the Olympics, but I think that initially it was getting a little bit of momentum when it was still under royal family supervision to be a pretty big deal for the country that is hosting it each year. And because of Harry and in part because of Meghan, it's just lost a lot of momentum and a lot of steam, and it's not as big of a deal now. But regardless, historically, Invictus does invite the heads of state or the royals or both, depending on the country's structure. And they usually come at least for an occasion or two or an event or two. And this is consistent across every single Invictus Games in history, which is not a very long history, but regardless. And every single country that they've been in, they have invited royals if they have them. And sometimes those people do make an appearance for one of the days or handful of events. Rarely do they attend for the whole thing, except for when Invictus was brand new. They did have royals there the whole time, the whole week or whatever it is. It's like, 10 days or something like that? Because it was founded through the Royal Foundation initially. This is something that people always forget. They always just say, they just go with what the Sussexes want and what the press release from the Sussexes say, that Harry founded it. Well, no, not really, not quite. Prince Harry is credited as the driving force behind the Invictus Games. He traveled to the United States and saw the Warrior Games, and he returned to the UK and said we should do our own version, and the Royal Foundation took it on and helped him create Invictus Games alongside other royals as part of the Royal Foundation. Technically, the inaugural 2014 games were launched and funded through the Royal Foundation, which at the time was Prince William, Prince Harry, and Princess Catherine, at the time Duchess of Cambridge. So while Harry technically spearheaded the idea, the initiative was given to him later on, he did so under the umbrella of the Joint Royal Foundation, which was the primary vehicle for all of the early funding, administration, and public-facing support for the games. That's also where the staff were, put together from to help plan it and sort it out and get it going. And it did make sense for Harry, given his own military service and the fact that he didn't have the same path laid out for him as William. The royal family as a whole felt like that was a great idea for Harry. William and Catherine were formally involved in the beginning, especially structurally as trustees of the foundation. While they didn't take public credit or lead on the initiative, their inclusion in the foundation's governance means that they were technically co-founders of the project's institutional framework and had a lot more involvement than they take credit for. But that kind of tracks for Catherine and William. They don't go out there taking a lot of credit for really anything that they do, no matter how much work or money they put up for something. They're not out there like, I did this, I made this, I founded this project, the way Harry and Meghan do. So that kind of makes sense that they've never publicly taken any sort of credit, while Harry has. But after Harry took over the Invictus Games Foundation as its sole patron when he left the royal family, post-royal exit, there was an effort from the Sussexes to amplify his individual legacy and identity as separate from the royal family, and just kind of conveniently try to get everybody to forget that it was a joint effort, and that if it weren't for the Royal Foundation and Catherine and William, then Harry would have been outvoted. He wouldn't have been able to do it at all. He just, quite frankly, wouldn't have been able to. It's also maybe in part due to the media just kind of trying to simplify things to make it easier to say that Harry founded it rather than explain the behind the scenes origins of a joint foundation. But at the same time, I think it's not that much harder to say Harry founded it alongside William and Catherine, or it was founded by the Royal Foundation and Harry has since become the patron. I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of a constant annoying nagging thing in the media that they're getting a little bit wrong, and then it confuses people. And then I've seen people, try to correct somebody about it in the comment section, and then other people are like, well, no, this says he founded it, or why do they say they're founding it? And people get confused. So it should be cleared up. But regardless, the official technical founder of the Invictus Games was the Royal Foundation, which included Prince William, Princess Catherine, Prince Harry. So although Harry now is the patron of it and the one kind of face, I guess, now, it's not necessarily a credit to the Invictus Games because he's made a lot of bad choices with it. And the publicity around the Invictus Games has suffered because of Harry's involvement. But anyway, it does operate on its own. It's not like Harry is in charge of everything and like the final say of everything that Invictus does. That's not the case. They have a board of people and things of that nature. And so Invictus independently has always extended courtesy invitations to heads of state, royal families, significant people in the host country. Always. It always has, and it always will. So the reported initial emails that have gone to Buckingham Palace with formal invitations expected soon for the Birmingham Games has been framed from Team Sussex, from Harry, as he viewing it as an olive branch and a catalyst for reconciliation. However, the games are scheduled for July 12th through 17th, coinciding with Queen Camilla's 80th birthday on July 17, which may pose a scheduling conflict. And discussions are reportedly underway among palace aides, weighing the potential benefits and sensitivities of attending, with some royal insiders suggesting King Charles may be uncomfortable, but might attend or send a representative, or do some sort of display of support from the Invictus Games with some degree of distance from Harry. So as of yet, the attendance of any royals is currently unconfirmed, but usually we don't know about, prime ministers or presidents or royals plans to attend until they actually show up for security reasons and whatnot, of course. Also, it's still 2 years away. The final decisions will obviously depend on a lot of factors, including health and scheduling of other events during that time. I would not be surprised if the most senior of the royals had other engagements, perhaps out of the country for that particular week. I wouldn't be terribly surprised by that. But I mean, quite frankly, a lot can change in 2 years. But since we all know the depth of the rift and there's just no denying the pain that Harry and Meghan have caused the royal family. Unnecessary, unfair treatment that's just really difficult to forgive or move past. I hope we don't see any of those senior royals feel compelled to cave to this pressure that Harry is already trying to frame this in the media like, well, I've invited them. And so then if they don't, then he will certainly try to use it in some sort of a manipulative manner. But it would mark a rare and highly symbolic public reunion beyond the event itself if something did happen where there was some sort of show of support from the royals to mark it. I could see them coming up with some sort of alternative hybrid situation where maybe they host a reception for the UK team and show up to that to kind of show support for the actual veterans themselves and publicly show support for the event without having to coincide it with Harry specifically. I could see them being clever and finding a way to do it that way, and that would make a lot of sense. But as it stands right now, the way the dynamic is at this moment, and the fact that Harry and Meghan have never apologized, I personally would feel bad if any of the royals felt like they had to attend and ended up attending alongside Harry, because you know how he would lord it over them. But because the media is trying to frame this as some dramatic olive branch from Harry, let's just clear this up a little bit. If the host country has an active monarchy like the UK and the Netherlands, royals are invited and usually do attend at least for part of the time. If it's a republic or a non-monarchical nation like the United States or Germany, top officials like presidents, governors, or first ladies typically represent the host nation instead. So it's not an olive branch or any of that sort of nonsense. It's protocol. And unfortunately, it's been only just a few weeks since Harry's latest attack on the royal family. No matter what he said about wanting to reconcile with his family, his actions demonstrate otherwise. Either that or he still expects apologies, and his hope to reconcile is herald code for ready to accept an apology, which is literally insane after everything Harry and Meghan have done to Harry's family members. For example, Harry's BBC interview after he lost the UK court appeal over tax-funded security. He bluntly stated that King Charles won't speak to him because of the security stuff, accusing the palace of using his protection as a tactic to control and isolate him. He called out the silence of the royal family amid negative press coverage of Meghan and their family, arguing that their unwillingness to defend her was deafening, which he described as a deep betrayal. And he warned that genuine reconciliation isn't possible without the family addressing these security and media-related issues. He was implying that unless they give him security, then he won't see them or he won't bring his family. And this was all just super duper gross. You can go and check out the videos that I put out analyzing this interview. We won't rehash it all here, but there were so many issues with what he said, and it was super unkind. Insider sources described the timing, with Charles undergoing cancer treatment and the entirety of the royal family having endured so much abuse from the Sussexes and going through a lot the last few years, losing Prince Philip, Queen Elizabeth, Catherine going through cancer as well, as extraordinarily poor taste on Harry's behalf. And very inflammatory, noting that the comments damaged family trust. That honestly doesn't sound like somebody who wants to mend fences or take accountability for their wrongdoings or try to reconcile. None of it. It's still a long way off, but unfortunately for the royals, this means a lot of pesky and manipulative statements are likely on the way, as Harry will surely, if we base a prediction off of his past actions, use this as an opportunity to frame himself as a victim yet again, or to manipulate the narrative around the event just as he has with every other situation involving his family. For example, when he was coming back for the Invictus 10-year anniversary in the UK, King Charles offered for him to stay on palace grounds and Harry refused. But publicly, Harry said that his father couldn't make time to see him and was too busy doing other things, when in reality, King Charles offered him a place to stay nearby enough that they could have seen each other. And it was extraordinarily misleading and manipulative of Harry to make that statement to the press, completely ignoring the realities of the situation. So unfair, so unkind, and this is the type of thing that he will surely be doing when it comes to this Invictus Games nonsense, that he will make it seem like the royal family doesn't support Invictus and try to paint them as these terrible people because he'll be lashing out in some way like he does. Teen Harry will come out. But most interesting, though, we know that Meghan Markle loves coming to Invictus and elbowing her way onto the stage and stealing a microphone to ramble some nonsense at us. We also know she never misses a chance to pull out her GMPs, her giant man pants, and wear more wrinkled beige. Meghan loves showing off the GMPs and the wrinkly beige at Invictus. It's a place where she always manages to find many opportunities to look messy and snag a microphone and offer up some lame word salad to an unenthused crowd wondering what the heck she's doing up there, or even have the audacity to march in front of veterans. This nonsense. So we know she loves going to Invictus. I'm curious to see if Invictus will be enough of a draw to convince her to return to the UK, a place where she's vowed to never return to ever since she was booed. She got booed. She says, I'm never going back there because they booed me. What a wound for the narcissist. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for joining me for today's video. I hope you have a happy day ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye.